Welcome to Cliburn Kids. I'm Buddy Bray. I'm your host for Cliburn Kids, and today we're coming to you from the Kimball Art Museum in Fort Worth, Texas. And we want to introduce you to a new friend, and that is Tessa Lark. Tessa, welcome to Cliburn Kids.
Hi, it's amazing to be here.
I want to know what that instrument is that you are holding in your hand.
Yes, it is an ancient relic of art, appropriate that we're in the Kimball Art Museum. It would do very well here. This is a violin. It is a Majini Violin. That is the last name of the maker who made this back in 1600. So that was a long time ago, like earlier than all of the composers I play even.
What keeps it from falling apart? I mean, that is really old.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of magic in here that even violin makers of today, which you call luthiers, don't even know about. They still study these instruments, but everybody who owns a very fine violin like this takes very, very good care of it. So I clean it every day. I put it in its own silk bag every day. I put it to bed, and when I, am not practicing on it, I put it back away for a little while. So I'm always taking great care of it, but everybody does with their instruments.
So violins, that's what it's called, a violin?
Yes.
Are they still made today, or were all violins made 500 years ago?
There are so many violins being made today, so many great ones too. But the funny thing is, this violin made in 1600 is the model that violin makers still follow today. The very famous violin maker Stradivari, Antonio Stradivari, actually modeled his violins off of Majini's. So I feel like this is a great grandfather of violins. But you'll more or less see violins made from today, from 1600, and they all look similar to this.
So how do you get sound out of a violin? It's pretty easy on the piano. Just all these keys, you just move them down with your fingers. It doesn't seem like that's probably the way to go on a violin, though.
Doesn't work that way so much. Yeah, if you just go down, there's not much of a sound, though that is a sound in fiddle music.
What's that you're holding in that hand?
This is a bow. I don't recommend doing that with your bow if you have one. This is made of wood, and it's made of horsehair. And the crazy thing about horses are harmed when hairing these bows. But the funny thing about horsehair is that there are microscopic teeth, they call them, in the horsehairs. And so you put something called rosin on the horsehair to give it that grit and make sure the teeth can actually pull on the strings on the violin. So you can't see it with your eyes, but microscopically, when I pull horizontally like that, what's happening is the teeth on the bow hairs are constantly pulling on the string and making it vibrate.
So how many strings on a violin?
There are 4 strings on the violin. They're all tuned differently. It is a G string on the bottom. If you know your note pitches, G, D, A, and E.
Yeah, that works out, I think. Let's do it again. I'm going to test you.
G, D, A, E.
Yeah, that works out pretty well. Okay.
Checks out.
Okay, so do you always have to use the bow to make sound on the violin? It seems like you make the best sound with the bow. Is it possible, if you were going to play something for us and you forgot your bow at home, would it be possible for you to still play the violin?
Yes, well, you may have noticed just now when I was showing you the open strings that I was just using a little index finger of mine here. And we call that pizzicato.
Pizzicato.
Which is an Italian word, which is fun because a lot of old instruments come from Italy, just like this one. So that is called pizzicato when you pluck the string. And that's a fun way you can get it to sound like a guitar and strum. Very versatile instrument, but what I do love the most about the violin is that it can really sing with the bow.
Awesome. How old were you when you started to play?
I was 6 and a half when I started.
Is that pretty young, or do people start even younger than that sometimes?
I've heard of people starting at 0 years old, 11 months. I don't know how that works. I wouldn't have been able to do that. But I would say very serious violinists that I know who are professionals often start at age 3, as early as 3. So I was a little bit of a later bloomer, but definitely still very much love what I do.
So you're talking about professionals. This is something that you can do for your job?
Yeah.
This is something you do for your job?
Much to the surprise of many adults, even, that I run into during my travels. But I feel very, very lucky that this pays my rent, it brings bread to the table, and it brings me great joy, too. I feel very lucky.
Awesome. Will you play something for us?
Would love to.
Here's Tessa Lark.
I'm going to play a couple fiddle tunes for y'all. I'll start off with one of my own called Le Soka, and I will follow that with one of my very favorite fiddle tunes by one of my favorite fiddlers, Mark O'Connor, called Emily's Reel. So here we go.
That's our new friend Tessa Lark playing a tune of her own and one by Mark O'Connor. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Cliburn Kids. There's tons more content on our website, cliburn.org/kids. I'm Buddy Bray. Thanks for watching.